High vibration situations. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Can you remember the last time you were at a really good concert? I mean, I'm talking one of your favorite artists, right? You go to the show, and usually when you go to the show, there's this one song you've got to hear them perform. You've got to hear them perform this one track that really just makes you feel good. And you think to the last time you went to go see this artist or this band perform, and you can imagine you're probably three-quarters of the way through the show. You've been enjoying it, the energies, the highs, the lows, and then there's that little part of you that's holding out for that last little bit of the show, hoping they're gonna play that one song. And then right when you're thinking, are they gonna do this to me? Are they gonna leave me so incomplete? Then bam! Out of nowhere, they deliver on the promise and they unveil that hit track, that favorite, that song that just makes you feel so good inside, and you resonate at that frequency where you're just like, yeah, that's my jam. That is one of those high vibration situations that really represents some of the feel good, some of the simple, special moments in life. You can have the microscopic version of that. You could be singing, maybe you've never been to see your favorite artist before. Maybe they're before your time or too far away, who knows? Maybe you're just singing that favorite song in the shower and you hit that high note at the peak of the chorus where you're just in tune and you're feeling 100% of the energy that the artist or that band is looking to emit. And you grab every bit of it and you synchronize and you vibrate. That is a very high vibration situation. It's also positive. That's that stuff that feels good inside of you. And like that, and the feeling of laughter and love in our life, these are the high vibration situations that us as human beings have to be cognizant of and always remember to cherish. And remember that one of the secrets to state control is to control your vibrating frequency. And when you can control your vibrating frequency by simply taking the time to even reminisce, to take a moment to reflect, or to project yourself into that actual situation where the energy is high and the mood is good and the people are right and the love is there and the surroundings are appropriate to help uplift you and really make you feel good the way you want to feel and the way you know is right to feel. That's what you should always be looking for. Look for those situations. Look to run with that tribe, to tune into that channel, to listen to those frequencies of music, the quotes, the chants, the sing-alongs, that sort of thing. It's so critical to be able to really tap into that and use it for the good, because you get that good vibration running through your whole body, and it can be a healing elixir of sorts, really. Laughter can help you deal with quite a few different difficult situations. It can help you deal with stress. It can help you deal with grief, help you deal with loss, and it can help us to deal with some of the mistakes we've made in our lives, or errors in judgment, if you want to call them, right? No regrets. And sometimes laughter can be a symbol of us letting go, break withs from the past, right? Maybe past transgressions or past mistakes or past times you've been hard on yourself for things that didn't go your way, and you're finally able to just kind of laugh at yourself and laugh and let it go and move on. That's a blessing. Those are some of those high vibration situations we should recognize that can really be used for greater good in our own lives. Because not every situation that we run up against allows us to vibrate at a high frequency in the positive realm. There are other situations that will also change your frequency, but a little bit differently than what you might be looking for. Because not every high vibration situation is a good one. Sometimes there are high vibration situations that are not so good, and they're quite bad, very bad. And these ones aren't as easy to talk about or necessarily think about or discuss, but we have to be aware of them, right? They say awareness is the first step towards change. So if you're dealing with a challenge or an issue, you're just trying to increase your awareness about something, that's what's really going to be able to start the process of change. So being aware of situations that create a bad vibration, those are ones we have to be aware of, because it's it's sometimes something that we don't necessarily want to walk into. Have you ever been around a bad vibration situation where maybe there's conflict near you, right? Maybe there's conflict. Maybe someone has brought conflict your way verbally. Maybe someone disagrees with you. I don't know. Maybe they don't like the shirt you have on. But we've all seen instances where there's conflict between two people, or we're having a disagreement with someone, right? We're just not seeing things eye to eye, or we're debating about a topic. And more often than not, people will tend to invest, their persona really into a debate, right? We might be betting on what team, or we betting, not necessarily. We might just be talking about, say, what team we think is going to win a game, right? We might say the blue team's going to beat the red team, the green team's going to beat the orange team. Um, you know, this team's better than that team. It's not so much specific about this or that. It's just the idea that there's opposing forces at odds over an outcome. And based on human nature, there's a certain competitive spirit there that can sometimes become emotionally involved. And you've seen the situation. You watch a baseball game. The guy hits the ball. Guy catches it on the bounce, throws it to the first base. He's safe. No, he's out. No, he's safe. No, he's out. There's a big to do at first base whether the guy's safe or out. And people will get pretty heated. And next thing you know, they're shouting and they're at the top of their lungs and they're in each other's face. And there's just an outcome, right? It's one way or the other. But the vibration of the situation is so intense. You got people ready to go at each other's throats. And so it's very bad to see that you can be, essentially pulled into a situation, right? Or you might participate in an arena that lends itself to just getting you riled up all the time. And it's like, if you're aware that you're going to step in to that scenario and it's going to pull that out of you and you really don't want it, might make sense not to step into it into the first place, right? Let's say, you go to the gym, you get hot, you get sweaty, you might want to go take a shower. You might just want to go straight home. Some people like to go into the steam room. Some people like to go into the sauna, right? Where each of those situations is completely different, where if you're just hot and sweaty and completely exhausted from playing some basketball or running or lifting weights or what have you, you might not want to sit and sweat more in a hot room. So that's a situation might not draw something out of you. You might have a situation where you get around a certain group of people and maybe you argue more than you typically do. Or you might have a situation where if you watch a certain show on TV, it may not make you feel good, right? These are bad vibration situations, and you just have to be aware of those. Sometimes it's one of those things where when you're younger, you don't always make the best judgment, especially, in the youth when they're, coming up in the land, they might be grade schoolers, junior school, junior high school. And, you'll find the kids are pretty cool. And sometimes human beings will do interesting things to feel included, right? You'll see instances where people hang out with groups of people just to feel like they're part of something, but they might be the object of ridicule quite often. And you say, well, what's the point of that? Well, sometimes what someone might be willing to go through to feel included is to be ridiculed and made fun of. And that's really a bad vibration situation, right? Or you might find that, you might have family members that can get under your skin. And if you just if you egg that on, you might find yourself behaving in a way that you don't like, right? Or feeling ways that you don't really like. So we just have to be aware of situations in our lives that create that tension, and just recognize that a lot of times you can steer clear of that, right? And so that's one of those simple tips that in any time of stress, you want to be able to make sure that you avoid stress or do things that can help us de-stress. Because that's one of those things that you'll see people feel like they're running crazy during the holidays typically, and they've got a lot going on and they're stressed out because there's too much to do, and there's this bad vibration energy that's going on in a typically good vibration scenario. And so sometimes you have to just kind of pause, stop, slow things down, and say, why are you allowing yourself to get wrapped up in the hustle and bustle of let's say rushing to buy Christmas gifts, right? When everything's going to come together and be taken care of, you don't want to be fighting over the last gift. It's not a right combination of energies. And so the last one I want to touch on briefly is the idea of some situations that can just flat out get ugly. And those are the ones that are always a little bit of a curveball. They're always a little bit of a twist. And I think they're the ones when we have the presence of mind of knowing that we tend to operate on a certain frequency. But if we aren't focused on staying harmonized or aren't steadfast in staying harmonized, we can, without discipline, allow ourselves to drift, right? So let's take an example of what this might look like. Let's say that from a lifestyle standpoint, let's just say you're a vegetarian, right? And you've been a vegetarian for a decade. You just choose not to eat meat. You got a variety of reasons and you feel that a plant-based diet is best for you, right? And so let's just say in this scenario, for whatever reason, there was a big celebration for some reason for you or someone you care about. You had to be there. And it was cookout and they were serving hot dog and hamburgers and chili. And for whatever reason, something possessed you to just go all in and you're eating the hamburgers and the hot dogs and the chili. And it just does not sit well with you. It's not a mix. It's like you're putting diesel gasoline in putting diesel gasoline in a standard vehicle that doesn't run on diesel fuel, right? Or diesel fuel in a gasoline engine. The two don't work, right? So you can imagine that would be kind of an ugly outcome for how that person might feel, because it's just something different. It's like no different than if you took someone that didn't drink alcohol and they said, hey, I'm going to just let my hair down tonight and just drink this, half gallon of whiskey. The outcome doesn't work because there's not the training that's been going on that sets the stage for that. But it's one of those high vibration situations that's just ugly, because you can imagine that part of that internal conflict that would take place either just before, during, or after that whole event associated with operating way outside of congruency is going to be one of those where it's just a high vibration situation that ends up being really ugly. We've all been to one of those Christmas parties before for the job, and there's that one coworker that just, maybe spent one too many times taking freshened cups out of the punch bowl, and they're a little stumbly and swaggering and maybe acting a little bit sloppy at the job event, and not being viewed in the most positive light. And it ends up being an ugly situation because, there could end up being conflict with another coworker where the person might be heralded as being in a very positive light, as being a good worker, good coworker, good colleague to be around. And, one event turns things a little bit ugly because you allowed yourself to drift way outside of your operation zone. And it's one of those things you just have to be aware of and know that each moment we have to take stock of kind of where our thoughts are at and which way our thoughts are trending, because I think a series of bad thoughts in a row is what can generate those high vibration situations. So if you're getting some inputs that don't sit well with you, there have to be ways you can either distract yourself or change the station to adjust the vibration, because to go from good to bad to ugly is a pretty bad deal. And I think that in any time in our lives, if we can just be aware of the fact that state control is a very powerful concept as far as an individual being able to really self-manage their experiences, self-manage their emotional state and how they really feel. And some of it's kind of like a biohack. We've got to be able to outwit certain situations and be smarter than situations around us that make us feel too intense, too high, too low, too indifferent, and just recognize, kind of what's going on around us, and just, be in tune with ourselves so that we can optimize our mental health, because that's always important. But high vibration situations, it's funny how you can be in tune with your feelings in certain instances in order to get a better handle on a way to more logically look at a set of scenarios. So hopefully I'm connecting with you there, and that's making a little bit of sense, because we've all seen them. High vibration situations, they're all around us, and we always get the opportunity to participate. So whether it's good, bad, or ugly, make sure the high vibration situations that you're participating in, or that you find yourself involved with, are the ones that are serving you best. And so you can continue to get a positive experience. And anytime that you might be dealing with emotional turmoil or loss or sadness, because life follows cyclical patterns, right? Just like the seasons. So there will be ups and downs and summers and winters in life. And I think that there's times you just got to break out a few more blankets in the winter and drop a few layers in the summer to manage it all. And so being cognizant of the high vibration situations, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and knowing how to manage those to your advantage, is one of those simple life hacks that you can put in place today to get the most out of your May 2020. Until next time, guys, thanks for joining. Appreciate you. See ya.